what is a signature? And how do you sew a signature into the spine of a book? And also, what is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch? Have you ever wondered what these things were when you hear people talk about how to make junk journals? I wondered that as well when I was first starting out. So if you're wondering how to do that as well, stick around and I'm going to show you how to do that. Hi, this is Lori. I'm the crafter in the mitten. And thank you for joining me today. This is the 3rd episode of this particular series. And so today, like I said, we're going to sew signatures into a book, and there's going to be more series to follow. So anyway, let's get started. So let's talk about what is a signature. I talked about this the last time in the last video before this one. If you want to view that one, the link is below. But anyway, here's a signature. It's just a group of papers in a book. So if you look at a regular book, sometimes if you look at the side of it, you can see that there's signatures in it. Anyway, here's one, and I made 2, 3. So there's going to be 3 signatures in this book. Again, I'm keeping this as simple as possible for the beginners, so you don't get overwhelmed. And of course, if you have any questions, just please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. But anyway, so we have our signatures, and we have this cover. And so we want to sew the signatures in the center of this. So first I need to find the exact center of this book. So I kind of saved doing that for when you can watch me do it. So what I do is I take out my ruler and measure it. I think this is 1.5 inches. Yeah, approximately 1.5 inches. So anyway, about halfway is 1.5 inches. I can't even think. 3/4 of an inch. Something like that. But there's already a line right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that line. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, and this looks roughly about halfway to me. So I'm going to draw a line down the halfway mark of this book, or this book spine, I should say. And because there's 3 signatures, I'm going to draw a line halfway between the middle line and halfway between the cover. So I'm going to draw that line about right here. And then here as well, here's the back cover. Here's the back cover, I'm sorry. Here's the back cover. And here's the center line. And we're going to draw that about halfway in between there as well. All right, oops. Well, they're not exact, doggone it. I can see that. I think they're close enough. Anyway. You get the idea. So you're going to, with 3 signatures, you're going to have 3 lines going down the center. And next, I'm going to poke holes in the signature. I'm going to poke 3 holes in these signatures. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. One way is I have this tool from We Are Memory Keepers that I can just put my pages in like this, so that they're all measured the same. And I like to put all the signatures. You can do this with the thinner books, but the thicker ones, it's not as easy to do. But this book should be thin enough to do that. So I'm going to show you how to use this, and then I'm going to show you the other way that I've done it before. And this, you want to make sure you scooch this down all the way to the end here. Center seam. Then I want to find the approximate center hole. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so about here is the middle. Again, this doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to put my pencil there just for a second so I don't lose my spot. All right, so with this particular tool, these other little tools came with it. So here's the pokey tool, and they give you some thread and some needles and a booklet showing you how to do it. So anyway, so I have the tool that goes with this kit, but this here is an ice pick. You can use an ice pick, and this tool I got from like the hardware store or something, or the dollar store, I can't remember which, but it was in the tool department anyway. So you can use any of those things. It doesn't matter as long as it works for you. So I'm going to poke a hole in this, Then I'm going to find the middle here. Let's see. Six. So it's going to be about here, where that tape is. This isn't marking, this is a tape, a piece of washi tape, because I was doing another book, and so I was trying to, I didn't want to count those every single time, so I put the tape there so I could find it. And then here, this is about halfway here. Okay, so we got our 3 holes. Okay, that's one way of doing it. If you happen to have this tool, if you don't have the tool, don't worry about it. Don't run out and get it just to be a starter or a beginner here, because you can do it without. In fact, sometimes, depending on what I'm making, sometimes I find it easier not to use this. So anyway, so this is the other way to do it. This is the traditional way, in my opinion, to do it. So we have this marked out, or we got the holes in here. I might want to make them just a tiny bit bigger, just for illustration purposes. And so you can see how I'm going to line up the other holes here in a minute. So we have our 3 holes. So you can see them here. All right, so then I'm going to take one of my other signatures and I'm going to lay that right down next to it. Just like this. And then I'm going to take a pencil. So we marked where I'm going to put the holes. I know this is on the outside, not on the inside. I guess that wasn't so smart. See, I'm learning it, or we're all learning as we go. So what? Make a mistake. No big deal. Not the end of the world. All right, let's do it this way. Line that up. See my holes. You can still see them, I hope. I think you can. Let me scooch this up, make sure you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so it's gonna be a hole here, and one here. Okay, and then all I do is just take, I got my ice pick here this time. Here, let me try this tool. That was a little sharper. Anyway, so you take a pokey tool of some sort that you have, and you can poke it through here. I even have a Tim Holtz pokey tool. I guess pokey tools coming out my nose here, but here's another one you can use. If you happen to have a Tim Holtz one, you can just use this just as well. So, like I said, you don't have to have real fancy tools or anything. Just whatever works. Whatever you have, make do. If worst case scenario, you can take the needle that you're going to sew these pamphlets in and mark it, and just take your needle and pre-poke the holes in them before you sew them. So there's always a way to do that. And then finally, I want to make sure I line these up here. Some people take clips like this if you don't want those pages to move. Right now, I'm not too overly concerned. But you might have a project where you want them to be lined up exactly perfect. All you need to do is take a clip like this and clip your pages together. I'll take one of these big ones just so y'all can see what I mean here. And then I'm going to flip this around like this. Open this up here. I want this to be the top just because I just want those lines at the top of this particular page. This one's kind of easy to do, because this one I don't even have to mark it. I can just look at these lines here. So there's the hole. Hole. Another hole. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have the holes in all these 3 signatures. And then this is my the first one I made, so I want to use this as the guide, just to make sure I don't mess up. And then with the lines that I put in the book, I want to line this up with inside the book here. I might not got that exactly straight. then I'm going to take a pencil. I need a hole here, and a hole here, and a hole here. And then let's move it down to the center. I still kind of want to, I'm just eyeballing it. Like I said, it's not a rocket science, so, but eyeballing it. So I want a hole here, here. I guess I want to make sure that's at least straight. Okay, and here. And finally, the third one. I got those lines a little off. I don't know if you can see them, but I'm eyeballing it anyway. You know, you can make adjustments. It's not like you can't make adjustments here. After you poke the hole, then it's kind of hard to make an adjustment. All right, there we go. So I have all those marked. So now we're going to poke this through. Oh, in case you're wondering what I'm poking through, pick something kind of like a soft paperback book. Like I got this old phone book. This is like perfect because see, it's pliable here. So I'm putting this cover on here. And then for those of you just have I'm just switching back and forth between pokey tools only to show you that it doesn't matter what tool you use, just use one. Some of these look a little off. So make sure you get there, because you wouldn't be able to get a needle through there. I mean, you might be able to get a needle through there, but it takes some work. But you wouldn't want to be trying to poke that hole through there while you're in the process of sewing it. So you want to pre-do your holes. Makes it a whole lot easier. You probably can't see what I'm doing here exactly. Sorry about that. Alright, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but the holes are all the way through this outside part. So I can just poke this tool all the way through and make those holes nice and big and clean. Can you see that? Okay, we have our holes for our signatures. Okay, that's probably the hardest part of it, to be honest with you. It's just make sure you have all that lined up. Now, this is our back cover. It's like a beige, tan, I don't know what color you want to call it, but a neutral color. It's some greens, kind of like a celery color green. Anyway, so I'm using embroidery floss. You can use, like with this kit, it came with this thread here. It's a wax thread. You could, you know, if you get that kit, you can use that obviously. Or any coarse thread. You can buy like thread, like right here. I can't think what it's called right here. Duh. Waxed button thread. You can get this. I got this at Joann's. Anyway, you can use that. That's more coarse. I would probably use that on a bigger, heavier duty book. But anyway, point is, just find something that you would like to use. So I was trying to figure out what color looks the best with this. I think this is like a little too vibrant for this. And then that just doesn't quite go, I don't think. So now I'm kind of between the two of these. I know that's not the exact green, which it doesn't have to be. It gives some contrast. Or do I just want it to have it kind of blend in and just be kind of mellow? So I was kind of thinking, well, this is my other thought. I don't know if I'm going to do it this time because I don't want to make things too complicated for a beginner. But I was going to think about taking this and put it down the spine. And then, you know, just for a decorative look. I might do that. I don't think that's going to make it too complicated for you. So I got this at that craft store I was talking about in the last recording that I did. It's a store in town. They get like just a bunch of extra stuff. Anyway, you can, I don't know, you probably get this somewhere. You just have to look. But it's got it's just lace, cotton lace, and they put two-way tape on it. So it's nothing really special. I'm just going to take advantage of that two-way tape means it's already on there and just lay that on there like that. And I know this two-way tape is not going to hold forever. But by the time I sew the signatures in, I think it will be fine. I mean, you can glue this if you like, or I could put more glue in it, I should say, but I'm thinking I'm going to be okay because I'm sewing those signatures, so this will be technically sewn on anyway, so I'm not too concerned with that. And then if it does peel up, but I don't like where it's peeled up on the edge or something, I can always glue it down. So anyway, we're going to cut this. There we go. We have an extra piece of lace left. I've just had that for such a long time. I'm like, man, I should use that. I think that's going to make it really cute. Look at that. I think it's going to be really cute when it's all said and done. Okay. So I'm thinking just going with the neutral thread because I don't want to pull away. If I put green on here, I think it'll pull my attention or the eye away from the lace. And I kind of want the, what's the sense of putting a lace on if that's not the thing you're going to focus on, right? Right. Okay. So then I have the embroidery floss, and they say to do this about 3 times the length. So it's 1, 2, 3. Of course, I always do a little bit more, so it's probably more like 3.5, 4, but close enough. Now, you probably wonder, what in the world she got that big old chunk of beeswax on the table for? What's that about? Remember I was saying these waxes were, or these threads, this one's waxed, and this one's also waxed. Now, I've made plenty of journals without ever waxing them, but I do find it does slip through a little easier. So if you happen to have some, use it. If not, like I said, you can do it without. Now, this is a huge chunk, and I got this at a festival, an art festival, and it was really inexpensive. I couldn't believe that it was just $2. Normally you buy this someplace else, I know it's a lot more than $2. It's probably like more like 15. So I snagged it up. I even told a beekeeper, I says, you realize people sell those for a whole lot more. He just kind of looked at me funny, but anyway. So all you gotta do is just rub this through here. Whoops. A few times. Get some wax built up on it. And like I said, if you don't have the wax, don't worry about it. I'm just, mainly, the reason I'm using it today is just to show you about it. In case that's what you want to do. And if, you know, if you don't have wax thread and you happen to have beeswax, you can just wax your own. Oops, I just tied a knot in that. My goodness, how in the world did I do that? Anyway. And then I like to just kind of try to see if I can get that edge wax a little bit, only because it does make it easier to go through the eye of a needle. Now you want a needle that's kind of small as far as like the circumference, or, you know, the part that goes the round part. I don't know what gauge that is. I have no idea. But see how the whole slender, it's long and slender. So that's why I was trying to wax this. And let's see if I can get that in there. Oh, yay, it worked. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we got it waxed. So we'll put that aside. I'm gonna grab one of my signatures. I thought this would be the first signature I'd want to do, just because I think it'd be pretty to open the book and see those flowers right away. Okay, so for the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which is probably the most popular. There's 5-hole and, you know, it's like an odd number, but anyway, the easiest way to do it is you go through. Well, first of all, wherever you're going to tie it, if you want the ties to be on the inside, you start from the inside. If you want the knots, that's why I meant knots to be on the outside, you'd start on the outside. But I think I'd rather have them on the inside, only because, like I said before, I don't want to take attention away from that lace. So then, of course, I got the middle hole in the middle hole here. And then you can come up either through the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. Make sure I'm going the right way. Oops, you know what? My holes are off. Oh my goodness. Well, hold on. I did a goof. I think I got them lined up wrong. I did. Well, okay, I really didn't want that to be the front because I didn't want all that grunge in the front. Plus, that makes it upside down. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm glad I put that lace on there. Oh my goodness, this whole thing's off. Hold on. See? I still make mistakes. This one's right, I think. No, this one's upside down as well. Well, okay, well, we're going to have upside down writing on the inside of that book. Oopsie. Oopsie doopsie. It still looks off. There we go. All right, so yeah, signatures, their handwriting's going to be upside down, but you know, it's handmade. It's not the end of the world. Okay, and then this one, I can take that off. Okay. Alrighty. Anyway, even though I made a mistake, oopsie. But you know, stuff happens. But we're gonna end up decorating on inside of this anyway, so it's not. If you do any mixed media or anything, that's not a deal. It's not a deal breaker. It's not going to be perfect. So that's part of what makes mixed media and art journaling and junk journaling. That's what makes it unique. That's part of the beauty of it, is the happy accidents, as we call them. Anyway, so now I'm coming up through here. And I come up through this. Pull it somewhat taut, but not too taut yet. And then I'm going to just poke it through this hole here. And make sure, see how, I got to make sure I get this last page in here. So that's okay. It can be a little loose at the moment. This is normal. Except for I missed that first hole altogether. Oops, well, made another mistake. Okay, we'll just pull this all the way through now, at the end of the world. All right, do this again. Oh my goodness. Put that through there. I'm going to make sure I leave enough tail in here this time. Then I'm going to find this hole. It's right there. So I'm poking that needle up through here. Again, I'm just going to pull it through here for now. And then we're going to come up. To this hole. And I'm going to grab this. This is a little short piece of paper, so sometimes you got to be really mindful of these. Okay, there we go. Let me flip this over and make sure. My tail, that should be enough tail. Okay, and it's somewhat taut. Can you see that? That lace probably makes it harder to see. Then I'm pulling this all the way through. Coming up through this top hole or bottom hole, depends how you're looking at it here. Put it through all those. Wow. See, it's pointing out on me. There we go. Coming through here. Okay, so now we've got that kind of basically sewn in. Let me make that kind of tighten it up a little. Now this is the the more trickier part. So now we're going to come up through this center hole. That, in this particular case, this lace, guess it wasn't a good idea for a beginner, but anyway, so I'm coming up through this center hole, see? And you be careful not to go through the other piece of thread though. You just want to be in the hole. And you might have to come around here and peek. Make sure it's coming up through the paper. Oh, cool, it is. Okay, now do you see how I'm coming up through here and both sides of the string thread is going to be with the needle and this thread's on this side of this thread? Well, you kind of don't want to do that. What you want to do is get this needle on the opposite side. So the thread's on one. So in other words, both pieces of thread will, each end of the thread be on either side of this hole, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's actually knotted itself again somehow. I don't know how that's happening. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can undo that. There we go. It's not normally this complicated. Believe me, it's not normally. Only because I'm recording it, it's good. It's gonna not behave itself, of course. You know, it's one of those Murphy Law things. I see what I did. I did exactly what I told you not to do. I guess it's a good learning experience for me to do that mistake. See how when I came up from the underside, I accidentally got between those threads of the embroidery floss? That's what's making it complicated. So, but thank goodness it's not too bad. I can just take this and go right back through it. So it's not in there. So it's individual now, see? So that was, I guess maybe that I was supposed to make that mistake so I can show you what can happen. Just to keep, you know, things to keep mindful. So anyway, then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this needle off of here because it's making it harder to work with. Okay. But see, now we just want to tighten that up a little. Stick it tighter through here. Tighter through the center. Here we go. Now it's tight on either side. There we go. And can you see that? All right, so now that I've got that, now all we do is just tie a knot. I didn't tie it too tight. Yeah, that's good. And then if you want, you can do a little bow here, or just tie another knot. I'm just going to tie another knot. And then you can either leave these long and put some little charms or something hanging out in the middle of the book, or, you know, or you can use it as a, you know, leave it longer, tie them together, put a bead here, use it as a bookmark, or just cut them off shorter. But for this purpose, I'm not going to try and make things too complicated here. I'm just going to cut those off. And then you have your little knot in the center. But what I thought I would do with this one, just to make it different, I thought I'd make a little pocket right here. Glue this little piece together like this, and then be a pocket in the center of this. But that's part of the embellishment or the decorating of the book. We'll do that part later. I'm not concerned with that at the moment. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our next signature going. Sewn in. Hopefully this next one will be a little quicker here. 2, 3. I think I'm not going to wax it this time. Oh my goodness, it makes it hard. Guess I will wax the end of it a little though. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's try this again, and then I'm going to do the second signature, and then I think I'll do the third one off camera because you're just watching the same thing over and over again, and I don't want to bore you. You're getting the idea. So let's go ahead and sew this one in again. Let's see if I got that lined up right. It was lined up right here. Okay, so go again. We go through the center hole. Pull that through, but you don't want to pull it too much. See, I'm probably almost pulled too much. I need a tail so I don't lose it like I did last time. Then I'm coming up into the center hole here, or down, I should say. That's how you look at it, I guess. Down. I think I got too much of that thread going that way. Then I'll turn this around. Then I'm going to come up through here, this hole here. If I can find it. Ah, there we go. Found it. The lace hit it. I guess maybe putting the lace on for the first time showing you guys how to do this wasn't probably the smartest thing to do. But when you start making these, you'll get all these ideas and you just want to go with the idea when you get it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's an idea. Maybe do that now. So that's why I did that, to be completely frank. Okay, and then we're going to go down through this one, this hole. See how I come up go down the middle, come up to the left or the right, it doesn't matter which one, just whatever side, come up one of the sides, and then cross completely over, skip that middle hole, and come over to the opposite side. For this time, we're going down. That's the main thing to remember with a three-hole pamphlet stitch. Go in the middle, come up around, go all the way over, go down, and then now when I flip this over, I'm going to come up through the middle because we want to meet this in the middle so we can tie it off. And the middle hole isn't too hard to find because you can see it. The thing is, try not to come up through the middle of that thread like I did the last time. Like I said, that's probably the hardest part. Did I? I don't think I did this time. It doesn't look like it. Right, so pull this up. Well, maybe I did. Who knows? We'll see here. It's that tail end that's goofing me up. Here we go. This looks pretty good. Then I'm coming up through my book pages, or through my signature, I mean. Again, I want to make sure I'm on the opposite side of that other thread. At the end of the thread, I should say. Trying to figure where the end of that thread is. There we go. I'm just going to have to, there we go. Make sure I don't have that much strength that's catching on things. I need to make sure this is closer to the end of the needle, more like this. Maybe I'll have better luck. Oh my goodness. Okay. So again, we're on either side with this thread in the middle. And we're going to tie this off. Make sure it looks taut in the back. Now that's a little looser than that. See how this is more taut and that's looser. So I just probably want to adjust that a little bit. And I think that's good. All right, let me tie this off. So there we are. We have 2 signatures. 1, 2 signatures sewn in. You're probably wondering why there's such a huge gap. You could probably put more signatures in. Like, no, I could probably put 5 in there. You could technically, yes. However, by the time you decorate this thing, these pages will puff up and you'll get what they call gator mouth. The book will be like this, where you won't be able to close it more. And we want to be able to close it. Maybe a little bit gatory, doesn't matter, but we still want to be able to close this when we're finished here. Okay, so then we have the 3rd signature. And let me measure this out again. Okay, that wax really does help with threading this needle. I mean, if you don't have beeswax, you could probably get away with like a soybean candle or something. Just doing the edge alone helped a lot. Just so, I mean, unless you have the patience to get that through there. My eyesight isn't the greatest. Okay, so I'm not trying not to leave that big of a tail like I was before, because that was just completely messing me up. And there we go. Yep, that's where I went with the holes. Okay, so come down through the center. The center hole here. And then whichever way you find it easier for yourself, I'm flipping this around, up to the top or up to the bottom, or to the right or the left, whichever way you're looking at it, I guess. So I'm going to come over here. Again, I'm going to poke it through here. Find that hole. Yeah, there it is. Perfecto. Okay, come up through there. Come up through this hole. And just like before, you want to come all the way across here. You want to skip that center hole. Come over here to this other end, opposite end. This, that through paper. You might have to be a little loose like I am right now, so you can see the hole from your spine. Through like that. So far, so good. Awesome. So far, so good, like I said. Then we're going to come up through the center. And I have to move this around a little bit because of the come up through that lace this time. So I want to go through that hole. Like I said, try to be careful or be mindful not to get the needle between the threads of like the embroidery floss or whatever other type of thread that you just happen to be using, whichever, it doesn't matter. But just in other words, try not to split that thread, because it'll be hard on you. Because when you go to tighten things up, it'll just be too hard to tighten. Let's see, now I need to come up through here. Get this. There we go. And again, I want to make sure that my needle is on the opposite side of the thread from before. So I'm going to come through here again. See, it's in the center like that. And then we'll flip it over, make sure it's somewhat taut, but not super duper taut. Not real loose, but not real taut either, because you're going to need a little bit of wiggle room by the time you. I think that's perfect. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take that needle off. Let me just tie our knots. There we go. So far, so good. I mean, technically, this is a book. Technically, I guess, in a way, it would be finished. If you wanted to just stop here, you could. Of course, that's not the fun of junk journaling or art journaling. The fun is after this part makes it the fun part. So we have it. And here's the first signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went with 6 pieces of paper in that one. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5 in that one, it doesn't matter. And then here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna start decorating it. Let's see. I'm just trying to, let's see, some of this is upside down, some of it's right side up, but it just depends on how that particular paper was written. So I guess I could still do it this way. It's not gonna hurt. I don't know, I'll figure it out as we go. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed this episode. At least now we know how to sew a signature in a book. Was it perfect? No. There's a pretty spine. Anyway, I'll talk to you again. Again, this is Lori, the crafter in the mitten. If you'd like some more step-by-step instructions on how to do these steps, you can go to crafterinthemitten.com. I'd appreciate it. Again, I'll see you later. Bye.